We are the Capilano University Degree team. We will be presenting our version of British Columbia's Tourism Career Marketing Plan for the year 2020. My name is Anna Cash, this is Frankie Ng, Jillian Vandergat, and Jamie Borthwick. And just to give you a bit of context, or who we are basically, we're all fourth-year students. We all had the privilege of actually just returning from our semesters abroad. So Jamie, Jillian, and Frankie studied at the Management Center of Innsbruck in Austria, and I myself had the privilege of studying at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. So just to a bit of background information on the tourism industry. $13.4 billion is the number that in the year of 2010, so $13.4 billion was generated by the tourism industry in revenue in 2010. 25.5% growth is within the tourism industry between the years 2004 and 2010. And 430 new jobs in the tourism industry are going to open up by the year 2020. So as we know, there's huge labor shortage coming on our hands. There's two reasons for this. One is due to economic growth. So 44,220 jobs are actually due to expansion. And the second reason is retirement. So 57,210 jobs are going to open up due to replacement. And these numbers added together actually account for 10% of the province's job growth. So current trends in the tourism industry, it has shifted from a resource-based to a knowledge-based economy. As you can tell by this graph here, between the years 2012 and 2022, 78% of people looking for a new job need to have post-secondary education. So the average annual employee growth rate in the tourism industry is 1.6%, which is higher than 1.4%, which is the province's growth rate as a whole. And as we have learned today, the tourism industry is a large employer of youth. Actually, 1/3 of the industry is between the ages of 15 to 24. And all this shows you is that education is becoming increasingly important. So why would you choose tourism? Well, it could be due to potential compensation, due to benefits, potential to grow. But the reason I chose tourism, I think I can speak for my team and perhaps some people in this room as well, is I love people, I love connecting with people, I love the inclusivity of the tourism industry. I meet new people every day and I love it. I also love the opportunity to travel. I love that everything new happens on a daily basis. And the fact that people that come to see me are here to have a good time, they're on vacation, they're in a good mood. Why not show them that good time? Why not show off Vancouver or BC, the province that I'm so proud to be part of? And next, Frankie, we're talking to you.
So as we all know, tourism is a growing and expanding industry that requires really well-skilled and educated markets. As a result, we're targeting 3 target markets, which is secondary students, post-secondary students, and also international students. For secondary students, currently there is an 81% graduation rate from high school, and this amounts to 46,000 students in British Columbia alone as of 2010. They have a 44.7% immediate transfer to a post-secondary, which means there's a 55.3% of students with a high school graduation who are ready to work in the tourism industry. As a result, we aim to capture 2% of the secondary student market that are going to ready-to-work environments and also in the post-secondary environment, which amounts to about 4,000 new jobs filled as of in 8 years for 2020. How do we plan to do this? Well, we plan to do it by having post-secondary day. It's a great way to showcase the tourism industry. We're a very unique industry, we're dynamic, we're also complementary, and why not show it by a collaborated, educated industry there? So this is a great way to get your name out there, publicize why tourism is a great atmosphere to work and how different it is. Also, it's a great way to capture secondary students' passion and enthusiasm is by introducing tourism as part of their curriculum. Why not introduce it as an elective? For the timeline, we say about 1 to 3 years for the project to be installed. Some of the stakeholders involved would be Tourism BC, Ministry of Education, LinkBC, and also, of course, the secondary schools and the secondary students. For funding, we are hoping universities, secondary schools will contribute, but also businesses, because they understand the return on investment by participating with this plan. We estimate about $60,000 because of the coordination required for these events, and also in-kind contributions. The evaluation of how successful our plan is through the percentage of students enrolled in tourism studies after this plan is implemented, and also the percentage of students employed in the tourism industry, which accounts for the 54.3%, which is ready to work. A great example of this is the Swiss Hotel Management School. They actually go on recruiting campaigns all across the world. Ina was actually sat in on one of them here in Vancouver as well. And they are ranked as one of the top 10 international schools by the International Student Rankings. And as a result, they have a publicized name, and it's a great way to also attract people into the tourism industry. Our second target market is the post-secondary students. Currently, in the post-secondary student market in British Columbia, there is a 447,000 pool of students. Currently, as of 2011, there are 300 programs offered, which is an increase from the 200 programs offered in 2003, which suggests that there is a tourism demand, or a demand for tourism education. There's also a 12.6 growth in enrollment in tourism education, and as of right now, as of 2009 to 2010, there is 7,688 students participating in a tourism education program. One of the ways we plan to attract more people to study tourism in a post-secondary environment is by changing the faculties of tourism. Currently, it is called the Bachelor of Arts. We don't believe that it is a credible source. We believe it should be called Bachelors of Business. As a result, it changes the credibility to the unaware public, and it also makes sure that we have that reputation to attract people to a long-term career in tourism. Also, we propose increasing specialized programs. Currently, a survey done by Go2HR shows that there's an 82% factor that graduates of a specialized program are employed within 1 year and they credit it to education in a relevant training program. Also, by installing mandatory co-ops, this is a great way for students to also bridge that connection with the industry, but also it's a great way to fill the seasonality and also the job shortage. We propose this plan will take about 3 to 5 years. This will involve stakeholders such as LinkBC, Ministry of Education, Go2HR, and the tourism community. The funding will be done by student tuition for the co-op programs, government investment, and tourism businesses. And we estimate about $300,000 because of the specialized programs that will have to be created for this recommendation. To evaluate, we will do enrollment satisfaction surveys. How relevant was your education to help you become employed? And also just seeing how satisfied they are with the learning outcomes that they have gone through. Currently, there are 447,400 students enrolled. As I told you earlier, that would be a 1.7% capture rate as of right now. If we increase that market share to 3%, that would be an increase of 5,000 employees in the tourism industry by 2020. A really great example of a partnership between education and employees is University of Central Florida with Disneyland. One of their educational components include a curriculum internship at the Disneyland World, which is a great way for them to get education, but also to branch themselves and make that community connection. We want to bridge that linkage from education to employers.
So I'm now going to be discussing the international portion of this that we're going to be targeting. So currently there are 60,473 international students studying in post-secondary institutions in British Columbia. When they come to British Columbia, they're looking for quality education, to be safe and secure in their location, and they're really looking for an institution with a highly regarded reputation, especially if they're going into a specialized program such as tourism. 54% of these students are interested in working in BC after they've completed their studies, and this led to a 296% increase of temporary residents in British Columbia with a post-grad work permit in the past 4 years, which is huge. The way that we're really going to market this towards these international students is the fact that they can come to Canada because it's a great place to practice their English skills. They'll also be in a place where a second language is an asset, considering that Canada as a whole is such an intercultural country, and that especially in the tourism industry, having that second language puts you at a little bit of an edge and an advantage when it comes to the hiring process. And the fact that we're now increasing visa admissions. For example, we're increasing the CEC, which is the Canadian Experience Class visa admissions, which definitely applies to the international students, from 6,000 to 10,000 from 2011 to 2012, which is a huge increase. To implement this plan, we're looking at approximately 1 to 2 years. The stakeholders that will be involved in this is LinkBC, the Government of Canada, obviously post-secondary institutions and the international students, as well as the Ministry of Education. For funding, it's a little bit difficult as each institution has to look at their own budgets and how much they can put towards marketing and studying abroad. For example, we looked at Capilano University, and approximately 15% of their budget goes to the study abroad strictly for marketing Capilano University to all these abroad institutions. And also when looking at the LinkBC study tour, they had a $99,000 budget for marketing abroad. So considering all these, we figured that it would cost approximately $250,000 to $300,000. The way that we'll evaluate the success of this is the percentage of work visas that are now being issued, the percentage of internationals in tourism jobs, and the percentages of internationals that are enrolling specifically in tourism programs. So to figure out exactly how many people we could be looking at being filtered into the tourism industry, if we look at the 60,000, over from 2009 to 2010, this had a growth rate of 8.3%. So considering that this stays static, there will be approximately 114,000 students in British Columbia by 2020. And if we look at the fact that 54% of these internationals want to stay and work after they complete their studies, this leaves us with approximately 57,000 students. And let's just say, to be conservative, that 1 in 10 of these students decides to actually go through the process of getting a worker visa. This is approximately 5,800 students. So this is, in fact, if we do nothing. This growth rate stays static. However, by implementing this plan, even if we got 50% of this market, we could be looking at approximately 2,500 to 3,000 international students now becoming involved in the workforce in British Columbia. Best example of this is Whistler, and the fact that they require so many different international employees from Australia, New Zealand, South Korea, the UK, and Japan. They've really worked on extending visa specifics, such as they increased Australia's amount of potential working time from 12 months to 24 months. So that really retains those workers, and it doesn't require them to reapply so often.
Thank you, Johnny. So the implementation plan really relies on open and clear communication between all the stakeholders. This includes all the institutions, or educational institutions of secondary and post-secondary institutions, employers, go to HR, and the government. We want to showcase what a great industry tourism is and how much fun you can have, not only learning as we are right now, but also working. We want to change the perception of tourism as a career rather than just a part-time go-to job, and communicate all the available options that tourism has with over 17,000 businesses related to tourism, so it's quite a big industry. So how we're going to do that is through an online portal website. We want to keep this communication open and use the portal because it's a big way that students will go to. Online is a really big thing, and people want to see how the enrollment, the application, and information on this website. Also on the website, we can also have different ways with all the institutions such as TRU, Selkirk, CAP. If you're living in Castlegar, Nelson, you want to see that there's a close institution for you to study tourism. That would be Selkirk. Also different newsletters and social media through Facebook and Twitter because it's a big enrollment for students. So again, our target markets are secondary students, post-secondary students, and international students. And we want to reiterate that education is the future of tourism. So who's going to benefit are the students and grads, knowing that they're going to be getting into an industry where there's going to be jobs for them. Tourism businesses, because they're going to have a skilled workforce. The tourism industry, because they're going to be strengthened by all the educational workers, as well as post-secondary institutions and the local community as a whole. So that concludes our presentation, and we'd like to thank you for listening, and we welcome any and all questions now.